Welcome to Moms with a Call. We're not here to preach, convert, or fix you. We're here to listen.
We're McKenzie
and Rebecca, two women with messy stories, honest questions, and a quiet hope that maybe Jesus looks a lot more like love than we were ever shown. If you've ever wondered if there's a place for you in all of this, there is. Come, have a seat at the table. You're safe here. You're welcome here. Let's begin.
Thank you so much for coming on. I would love to do a little intro for everybody listening. This is Heather Eck, and you are a multimedia abstract artist and writer, an intuitive artist and painter, and you interpret people, places, and experiences through color. And so we're referring to you as a color healing practitioner now, which is really cool. Like an enormous box of crayons, her gift operates by categorizing through intricate but specific shades of color. So while this condition enables her to experience color, she responds to these encounters with people, things, emotions, and spaces by understanding the particular shade of experience that a person dwells in. So she uses her gift to detect the most healing color for them to remedy their wounds. I love this.
Yeah.
And I'll put this in the show notes, like go more in depth. You can read all about Heather. But I found you through, we actually live really close to each other, but I found you through my co-working space and I saw artwork up on the wall and I asked Allison, where is this, who owns the place? And she was like, oh, this is it's my spirit portrait. And I had to know immediately what the heck a spirit portrait was and how do I get one? Because I think that's what my soul and spirit was craving. So yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you even got into this in the first place.
Yeah, well, thank you guys for having me. It's so nice to see you, and I'm thrilled to get to spend some time with you. So I have like 20 years in corporate HR experience, but I was always a really creative kid. I was always very interested in sketching and drawing. I would lay on my floor and listen to music, and I would draw what I saw in my mind or what it looked like. And so I never really let go of that creative side, but I definitely pursued a path of traditional 401k and
Yeah.
paychecks. And then back in, I would say 2016, I was just kind of like burnt out. No amount of time off was going to make me feel rested. I just had this yearning in my spirit for something that felt bigger than me, that gave me more purpose. And I started working with a spiritual teacher, and she said, what were you like as a kid? And I was like, I don't really remember. And she's like, yes, you do. What were you like as a kid? And I was like, oh, I loved art and I loved music and I loved this. And she's like, your gift is creative expression. And honestly, it was like a light bulb went off and I went, oh, yeah, I loved art, and I instantly went out to Michael's and bought art supplies and started painting. And it was almost like letting out steam a little bit at a time because I had been holding on and squishing down this creative desire so tightly that when I started to paint and I started to just like let the paint flow, it felt like I was coming home to myself, and it also felt like I was remembering things about my life and who I am and why I'm here throughout that process. And so little by little, I started to open up. I feel like my spiritual gifts started to open up, and then eventually left corporate HR to do art making full time.
Incredible.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I know, same, Jinx. Oh, so
I know, it's wild.
Such a cool story. And what a blessing that you were able to leave corporate to do this full time as an artist. Were you, I guess, tell me a little bit about your background. Were you raised Christian or spiritual or
Yeah. I was like that weird little kid who was really curious about God and the universe and like the mysteries of I like my dad had this lifetime book called The Mysteries of the Unexplained. I don't know if you've ever seen
Oh, I
that, but it was
love
like
it. Oh
I
my
loved it.
gosh.
Like unsolved mysteries. Like I've always had a big curiosity about unanswered questions
Mhm.
and where things start. And so growing up, we grew up Methodist. I would go to vacation Bible school. We didn't go to church with regularity, but I was the kind of kid who was like, "Oh, you're Catholic? Can I go to church with you? Oh, you're Jewish? Can I go to synagogue with you?" I just was very curious about, I wouldn't say religion because I've never really felt connected to religion, but I was always very curious about what was being taught and why and what it all meant. And so I found myself, hanging crosses on my wall as a kid and then going to the library and looking for books on the Bible and the Dead Sea Scrolls and astrology. And like, so I just had this curiosity about the world and God. And I think my desire has always been to have a strong relationship with God and figure out what that actually means to me, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it does. It's so cool to just hear a little bit about your background too and how you were raised Methodist, and also that you don't necessarily identify with religion. It was more that connection and that relationship to God, because I think that's what we talk about a lot on this podcast, is that yes, religion can be really, really incredible. It can be a great tool for people to get closer to God, but it can also push people away.
Hmm.
And so I wonder, when you were kind of diving into, you mentioned the astrology book,
Hmm.
or, any of these spiritual gifts and connection, were you ever scared of it? Did your parents ever, no, like, no?
No, I was never scared of it. I was just curious about it. I think, growing up, I've always believed in Jesus. I've always believed in God. I was always just sort of like curious about how it all came together and what I needed to know about it. From a religion
Yeah.
perspective, I never subscribed to a particular religion because there was some part of me that didn't always believe that what was being taught was 100% right. I always thought, well, these are interpretations of interpretations of interpretations that may
Yeah.
or may not be like the truth. And so I sort of sought the truth through reading the Bible on my own, trying to as a young person, and then studying different things that I thought were part of the universe that we lived in. But I was never afraid of it. I
Yeah.
was just always really curious about it.
No, I love that. It makes me think a lot of myself as a kid. I was really curious, and I just wanted to know except I was scared. So that's why I
Oh,
asked.
interesting. Okay.
I've always been so scared of it. And so I think and too, I think that's a common I guess fear is common in the Christian space too, when you deviate from the box that I like to say modern day Christian, like current Christianity kind of
Hmm.
puts spirituality in. It says spirituality and connection and feelings and energy and astrology and numerology and all of these things are not compatible with
Hmm.
the scriptures. And so one of the reasons I really wanted to have you on is because a lot of your artwork is actually based in scripture. You are very in depth. Like you go to Bible study. You have, I mean, I was stalking your Instagram. You did art based on, I think it was Mark, right?
Hmm. Yep.
Relatively recently. Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me how you kind of reconciled the two.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's a great question. Um, so I've been immersed in Bible study, I want to say since 2020, so for a long time. And deep, deep, deep study. We're talking like each week a book, or not even a book, a chapter within a book. So currently up to John 6 as of the as of the time of this taping in
Cool.
terms of reading the Bible. And so what I sort of came into artwork thinking about, or came into my spiritual art, well, I think of my art as sermons. I think of the images and the symbolism and the color that come through as like a sermon on something. And so when I will read a scripture, so the book of John is all about the living waters, right? So when I read that
Yeah.
scripture, I sort of take in, well, what does that feel like to me? What does that look like energetically? Where does that move? What colors sort of come up for me? And then create a piece that sort of reflects what that scripture feels like or looks like. And
Mm.
when I first started painting, I associated the colors that I saw with the chakra system or the energy
Yeah.
centers. And I think that's totally fine. I think as I've been studying and getting more and more immersed in this idea of, God as creator, God as creating everything, then where does color come from? Well, it had to have come from Jesus, right? It had to have come from God and
Yeah.
Holy Spirit. And so then I go, oh, okay, so the colors that I'm associating with the energy centers I still believe in energy centers. However, now I
Yeah.
associate it with a much more sophisticated understanding of, that the indigo or navy as not so much being about the third eye, even though I know that it is, but more so about the throne, the lapis lazuli throne that God sits on. And so, where does the
Mm.
source of your inspiration, your intuition come from? Well, God, right? So that's where I sort of said, well, let me take this understanding and then elevate it so that it feels
Yeah.
like it's more, um, I think just more theologically inspired then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that because it actually makes me think back to our astrology podcast. I had actually one of my clients who's very big into astrology, Amanda. She came on and she was talking about how the she you know how a lot of people that are in they're spiritual but not necessarily religious, they refer
Mhm.
to the god as source or universe, things like that. And so she said, we were having this conversation, and I think it was actually Rebecca that mentioned, she's like, I think that God created the universe. And yes, the universe has its own powers, but by saying it is the universe, like the universe is our source, it's limiting God's power of being everything. All and so I
Mm.
think it's the same thing with the chakras. I think he created the chakras. He created the energy centers. And it's okay to recognize that you have energy centers in your body and
Right.
you are an energetic being. You're a spiritual being and a physical being, a human being.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so there's nothing wrong with that.
I'm leaning into learning about that right now. I've been reading Anatomy of the Spirit by,
Oh, with Carolyn Meese.
yes, and it's been so
Yeah.
eye-opening because she does draw from a lot of different religions, but she does draw from like the biblical sense too. And I've been learning so
Hmm.
much about how it's all connected to our purpose here, and I've been so fascinated by it.
I
How are
love
you
her
always
work.
reading a book that's spot on
I
to what we're
don't
talking
know. Why
about,
does that
Rebecca?
always happen? And you know what else is funny? Because Mackenzie, I'm sure she's shared this with you, but after we had this moment of like, let your will be done, I feel like we both had it around the same time of just like giving the divine control essentially over what happens. We started seeing all this numerology everywhere at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
I don't think I've told you that actually.
it was to a point where we were both like, "Are you seeing numbers?" And we'd be like, "Yeah." And then it got to a point where it was so frequent that we couldn't ignore it. And she actually touches on this in the book. That I guess whenever you say that prayer of surrender, that divine guidance enters into your life and like synchronicities, is that correct? Start to
hmm. Yep.
happen. And the funny thing is it's on page 222 when she talks about it in the book.
Of
I was
course it
like,
is.
this is so funny.
You're
But
like, yes.
yeah, and Mackenzie and I have been like dying to find someone to kind of explain that to us because we're like, what is going
Oh my
on?
gosh. What's really cool is that I started studying the Bible, and then this past summer I started studying the ancient Hebrew text. And when you really dig into the ancient Hebrew, you get so much richness in the original intention and in translation of the scriptures. And so
Are
not
you
only is
studying is it the Tanakh
no, I'm studying
or the Torah?
the Torah. Yeah.
Sorry, I just
Um
wanted to just to
Oh,
clarify.
no, you're okay. Yeah, oh my gosh, there's the Tanakh, the Torah, the Pentateuch. The Pentateuch are the first 5 books of the Bible that are part of the Hebrew Bible. And so what's really cool about Hebrew is that the original language were pictures. And so the pictures, I guess they're called pictographs or something, then became the letters. But in the Hebrew letters, each letter is a number. And when you find a word, you guys are going to geek out on this. You'll never stop Googling it now after this. When you get a Hebrew word, you can look up what the Hebrew numbers are. It's called gematria. And then you can look up what that word means in like a gematria dictionary or what have you, and it'll tell you information about what that word means, like numerologically. And
Oh my
it's
gosh.
fascinating. Fascinating. I'm a total Bible nerd. I'm a total Hebrew nerd. It is just the most mysterious, magical, wonderful thing that you could ever dig into. It's amazing.
That is incredible. Okay, so wait, let me
I know.
make sure I can like understand this properly.
Yeah.
So you essentially it was ancient Hebrew. It was pictures, and they
They were
turned those
pictures.
pictures into letters.
Mm-hmm.
And then those letters had like a number somehow associated with the letters.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yep.
then putting words together with letters can correspond to numbers,
To a series
back
of
to numbers,
numbers. Mm-hmm.
which then tell you what
Of what the word means, what the purpose
into
of
in
the
its
word is.
entirety.
Like the
Yeah.
spiritual
The
You
meaning.
heck?
can
That's so
That
you can look
is.
crazy.
up like what your name means. If you look up your name in Hebrew and then find the numbers, and then you'll be able to figure out what your name means from a numerology perspective. It
That
is
is
the coolest
so
thing.
cool.
Seriously.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Yeah, seeing the numbers. It's been I yesterday I saw them. This entire week I've been seeing them a ton, and I really have been leaning into I've been journaling a lot, like you've been so for those that don't know, if you didn't listen to the past episode that I talked about my surrender year, and a big part of that was like diving into spirituality, like my own spirituality and connection with God. And so I ended up working with Heather, and she did a spirit portrait for me. And so I talk all through that in the episode. And that oh no, I'm having a block. Oh,
Mm,
I hate
Oh,
when
it's
that
okay.
it
happens.
happens.
Um and I guess what I was trying to say is like with that spiritual portrait and everything that I did, I've been seeing a lot of numbers. So part of my homework as we meet, she's like, "Hey, you know, journal on this, sit on this, meditate on this." And I've been journaling a ton and just really visualizing a lot of these things that we did in our last exercise, and I've been seeing 555 everywhere, 222, 333, not a ton of 444, even though for some reason that's my favorite one to see.
Uh-huh.
I don't know why.
I feel like it's the most common that people notice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So how familiar are you with numerology, Heather?
Pretty familiar. So I kind of think of like my spiritual journey started with like the gateway drug, which were crystals. Like I
Okay. You're hardcore. You were doing hardcore crystals.
I love that.
It's so true, but oh my gosh, I could write a book about all of the things that I have dabbled with in the spiritual space before I came to the Bible. It's so fascinating to me, but everything from crystal to angel tarot to numerology to astrology to Reiki to archangelic light, the Course in Miracles. I mean, like you name it, I have studied it. Um, and then came to the Bible. I feel like I swung back around to the Bible because as a kid I wanted to understand it and but didn't, because it's hard. It's hard to understand the Old Testament especially too, which is so important. So anyway, now that I'm in the Bible, look back and I go, "Oh, I see how all of these things fit into the Bible. They were just
Yeah.
like different interpretations or what's it called? Like not
Different
appropriation,
experiences.
experiences of the thing, but the first of everything is in the Bible. And so that's where I sort of go.
Yeah.
But yeah, numerology, astrology, crystals, you name it. I did it.
Well, and how cool that I think oftentimes I see people who have done that. They've like gone into crystals, they've gone new age, and then they come back to the Bible and they rebuke all of that other stuff and say that
Mhm.
it's, not good. But how cool that you realized you came back around to the Bible and said, oh my gosh, this supports everything that
Yeah,
I've been learning.
it all supports it. That's so funny to use the word rebuke. I don't rebuke any of it. I think I look at it now with a different sort of reverence than I did
Mhm.
before because I recognize its importance and its value. But I don't put like, I think back in the day, I'd be like, oh, this crystal is protecting me. And now I look at it and I go, God protects me. But the crystal supports the energy of this, or the color of the
Yeah.
crystal supports. So I now I see God as the source of all. And so I don't lean on a tarot card to give me a message, but I will ask God to give me a message through the tool or through the or crystal or whatever. So I kind of use it, but with a
Yeah.
different lens, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's so interesting. It's I don't know if I think we have talked about this actually. So I come from very, very religious, very so I was mostly raised Catholic, but before we were Catholic, I was very like my mom jumped around a lot, but very like traditional, probably somewhere between like I don't even know what we were, to be totally honest, but we talked a lot about like spiritual warfare and things like that. And so I grew up with this interesting look on dark energy.
Mm.
And so this is something that Rebecca did not have growing up, more, I guess, Baptist. So what are your thoughts on these things potentially opening up? I guess what even are your thoughts on good energy and bad energy?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I think so I do think that you can have low level energies. I think if you read in the Gospels, they talk a lot about like the demons and casting out the demons and spirits and things like that. I think that that's low level energy, and I think you can invite that in through certain behaviors or beliefs or even just your words and verbalizing it. So um I do think it's there for a while, and even still today, I will smudge my house with sage and Palo Santo and invite positive energy. Right before the snowstorm, I anointed our house with hyssop oil and oils of blessing so that I could bless the home and consecrate it to God. And so whatever is meant to be. But I also ask for that protection from any negative energy or anything low level that is potentially trying to get in. But I think those are the things that I'm learning to like rebuke, right? Like I rebuke
Yeah.
anything that brings negative or low level energy in, and I do pray that those things are kept away from me. But I think that you can sort of see, like for me, I experience that kind of energy as prickly or spiky around me. If I meet
Oh,
somebody and I'm like,
interesting.
oh, they're not the best for me, I'll experience them as like a
Like a thorn.
like hooks on Velcro,
Yeah.
Oh,
scratchy.
yeah.
Yeah.
I get a really bad headache, like
Mm,
immediate headache.
okay.
Um, so that's interesting. And I think Rebecca asked me at one point was like, do you think it's the person that, or do you think it's just the energy within that person or the spirit or something of, and I was kind of stumped on that because I don't think it is. I think at our core, we're all good.
Mhm.
Hmm.
We have God within us, right?
Hmm.
What are your
Yeah.
thoughts? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that you can have bad energy or like an attachment or a
Yeah.
demon. I think some things can be explained that way. And I think that some people invite that in. Some people look for that. Other people don't. Like I try to stay in the light as much as possible, and I try to catch myself if I feel like lonely or feel grouchy or feel whatever. I'm like, okay, God, I don't want this energy. Like, how do I get this energy out? I want to feel
Yeah.
peaceful. I think that God is peaceful. God is calm. God is loving. I think when you feel chaotic or crazy or scared or what have you, that's like something trying to get in and disrupt your energy. So I try to, whenever I feel that way, I'm like, get out. I want to feel peaceful. I want to feel calm.
Yeah. So interesting.
I feel like I've been going through this phase of reflection of like how you were talking about your skin feels prickly and McKenzie, you get a headache. I get like my nervous system just goes haywire. My heartbeat
Mm-hmm.
will start, raising and I'll start sweating and I can just tell I'm dysregulated. But I've been trying to learn if that is, I guess, the energy around me, the conversation that's happening, or the environment I'm in, if that's just a wounded
Mm-hmm.
trigger coming to light, or if it's the energy in the person. So I've been trying to learn how to decipher what's actually, I guess, me versus how
Yeah.
I'm reading them. Because I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I have almost to a fault this lens of looking at people and talking to people kind of as like whole picture healed. And I guess another way you could say it is I seek the good in everyone, like
Mm-hmm.
an empath to a fault almost, of being blind to energy or behavior or conversation that might be, outside of my comfort zone or a boundary for me or something that's just not safe for me.
Mm-hmm.
So trying to figure out if it's the person or am I just dysregulated in this moment has
Mm-hmm.
been a huge, huge challenge for me that I'm trying to walk through, because a lot of the times I'll reflect back on the situation and be like, oh, they weren't actually doing anything harmful. I think I was just triggered. And I have a tendency to like disassociate from my triggers where I don't want to feel them. So I'm like, oh, it's the person, it's the energy, it's this. I've got to go. Rather than I think I'm uncomfortable in this moment because God wants me to see something that I probably need to heal from.
No, that makes total sense to me, honestly. I think I want to say it's really awesome that you recognize that, because a lot of times we don't have awareness of what's happening in and around us, and we're just sort of moving through life without really paying attention to our feelings or emotions or whatever's
Yeah.
coming up. So I want to say, like, kudos to you for noticing those things, because I think our bodies, our spirits communicate to us constantly, and you're listening, you're paying attention to that, which I think is really great. I think too, like you said, we have triggers. I think they all sort of tie back to like what is the wound? What's the primary wound? Like
Yeah.
for me, my primary wound is acceptance. And so I trigger around acceptance all the time. And so I really have to pay attention to, is this thing triggering that wound or is it something else? And I'll have to kind of pause and ask myself, like, am I feeling rejected? Am I feeling ignored? Like, what is the thing that's causing the trigger? And then sort of walk myself through like an internal dialogue of, okay, well, if what is the truth of the situation? Like,
Yeah.
what are the facts here? What do I know to be true before I spin myself out trying to figure out what what the purpose of it is?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I think too, it's like circling back, trying to find the balance of listening to yourself, learning how to regulate your nervous system, but also not ignoring that you need boundaries too. And that there are things that people are going to say or do that, you can't compromise your morals on.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
that's a hard, or at least for me, that's like a really, really big struggle of not just trying to keep the peace.
Yeah, 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 for sure. For sure. I was just literally thinking about this morning, because I was in terms of keeping the peace. Like, there's something that happened. It really, really hurt my feelings, and I was struggling with how to move through the full emotional range of that experience. And I was cycling. I was circling the drain in my mind, having conversations that had never happened, having conversations that I thought it might happen. And I was like, I got to get this out. How do I get this out? And so I was thinking about, well, I think I can talk to somebody about it. Number one, I can phone a friend. It's so important to be able to call somebody and
Yeah.
say, like, Panic at the Disco, can I talk this out loud? Like, what does this look like to you? And then two, to feel the full emotional range of it, because it takes your body like 90 seconds to move through an emotion. And a lot of times we will stop that emotion in its tracks because we're trying to figure it out, or we're trying to stop it, or we're trying to withhold, or whatever it is. And so then I was thinking, okay, if I were a client, how would I advise my client to process this through, right? Because you have to get it out of your body. You have to get it out of your body, or it gets stuck. And so I was thinking I would tell them to phone a friend. So I did. And then I was thinking about a therapeutic art exercise that I would give myself, which is to write a letter to the person with all of the thoughts that are coming out and just get it out, get it out, get it out, get it out, and then to burn it.
Mhm.
Because it's not likely that I'm going to address that everything that's in the letter,
Mhm.
but I need to sort of process it out of my body. And then the act of writing it somatically helps you move. And then the act of burning it is sort of like surrendering it
Yeah.
to the universe or to God and saying like, I gotta move this out of here. And then doing like in the physical, well, what can I do? Well, I have to address it
Yeah.
because it's affecting me so much that it's causing me pain.
Mhm.
And even if the response isn't what I hope it to be, at least I've done my spiritual housekeeping, and I have a spiritual responsibility to myself and the other person to be able to try and clear it, energetically, physically,
Yeah.
emotionally, to move it out. And so I think those are the things that
Yeah.
if you notice they're coming up, is to try to kind of figure out how can you allow that experience to exist within your mind, body,
Mhm.
spirit, and also to take steps to try to clear it too.
Yeah, I think that's so interesting because before I even, I guess, really knew anything about energy, I would always just say that I was blocked or stuck or um so yeah, what even is blocked energy? Like and how do you understand it? And how does color play into that?
hmm That's a great question. So I sort of see blocked energy as pain, uh, pain or stuckness in the body or spirit. So the way my spiritual teacher taught me is that the spirit is always communicating and is
Mhm.
looking for the experience of life. They're like, "Woohoo! This is great! I'm here. I experience joy. I experience pain. I don't kind of categorize it as positive or negative. It just is." And
Yeah.
when you are resisting what the spirit is here to do, it causes pain or stuckness or dis-ease in the body. And so, for example, a couple of years ago, I got diagnosed with high blood pressure and I was so upset about it. And I'm like, why do I have high blood pressure? Well, when I look up what high blood pressure means, it's a lot of anger, it can be resentment, it can be unspoken words. And so the my
Yeah.
body has responded to the spirit wanting to speak up, speak out, or
Mhm.
express by holding on or harnessing tension or pressure in the heart. And so through I take medication for it, obviously, but I also look for opportunities for me to be able to express anger if it comes up, because I know that if I don't, it becomes pain in the body. Does that make sense?
And it's held there
And it's
until
held,
you
release it.
release.
hmm
Interesting. So, how is that different from, um, I guess, Reiki or other kinds of ways that you can clear those blocks?
hmm I think a lot of modalities like Reiki energy or oh my gosh, like crystal healing or sound bath healing or therapeutic art healing, they all have the same intention, which is to get you out of your body and or like get you out of your head like into your body and to feel and
Uh-huh.
understand sensations. I think all of it sort of looks at what's happening underneath the surface, tries to bring it up to the top and then gets you to move it out. So I think they all sort of serve the same kind of function, but with different
Mhm.
paths, if that makes
Okay.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. Sorry, I feel like I'm going totally rogue on questions here. I'm
Oh,
just
you're
like
good.
so interested in all of it. So then, okay, so someone's listening and they're like, I'm feeling really stuck. I'm feeling really blocked. Um, Maybe they don't even think that, they just
Mhm.
are unhappy. Maybe they have pain in their body in some way. How does these blockages show up if you're not actively saying, "Oh, I'm stuck, I'm blocked?"
Yeah, I mean, so for me, the way that I see it for somebody is in a color or two that shows me sort of where energetically they might be feeling stuck or blocked. And I kind of use that as like the stepping stone for conversation around here's what I see where does that show up for you, or how does that resonate with you? And then what can we do to sort of move it out? I would say, like, if you
Yeah.
are sitting here going, my back has been bothering me for a week, then I think, your back is associated with the root energy center. So your back is all about strength, support, stability, money, family, home, tribe, community. And so I would look at that and go, well, where in my life do I not feel supported? Where do I feel like there are things that I may not be surviving? Maybe you feel like you lost your job and you have no income and you're worried about how you're going to pay your bills. That's all about your support. Maybe you're in an argument with somebody in your family and you want them to be able to, what's the word, like, feel supported by them, and so you're looking to them to hold you up or bolster you, and you don't feel like you're getting that. So you can kind of look at what's the energy, what's the purpose, what's the function of that energy center, and how does it relate to the the pain or the stuckness that you're feeling there. If you feel like you have, like, if you're somebody who gets frequent sore throats, you might want to look at where are the places where I'm not fully speaking up or being authentic, or there's something that happened to me that I never told anybody about, or it's the idea of the physical and the spiritual sort of meeting in that space, and thinking there's something here that has affected me physically, that started with the spirit. And I'm not saying it's instantaneous, because I think pain and stuckness develops over time. It's a cumulative thing. But when you start to notice it and then you start to be intentional about releasing it, letting it go, moving it out, that you will start to feel better overall.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I can even attest to that too. I started working on just like speaking up and like saying what I guess my spirit portrait that you did didn't have any of that in it. It was pink. So it was
Hmm.
divine being held. Is that right?
Yeah, the higher love area. Yeah.
So is that my block then?
That's where you're primarily stuck, and also that color is the most supportive for you. So it's like a diagnosis
Interesting.
and a prescription, yeah, at the same time. Yeah.
Okay.
So the higher heart, that pink, is all about like collective love, collective energy, infinite and unconditional support. Um, and love from God. And so if you're feeling stuck there, it means there's a part of you that maybe doesn't always fully trust or understand or lean on,
Mhm.
and is looking for more assurance, more support, more faith and trust
Yeah.
in that being available and accessible to you.
Yeah, it's funny because when you had said earlier that your wound was acceptance, I think mine is control or being out of control. I don't
Mhm.
know like I'm still trying to figure out exactly what my wound is, but um that plays right into what showed up in my spirit portrait of, the pink and not fully trusting and not being, still struggling with that control of I don't know if he's fully got this. I need
Yeah.
more reassurance. And I think that's so common too. I think we beat ourselves up, especially as Christians or believers, or for not being able to constantly believe him and trust him and like know that the he is working in our favor. He is
Yeah.
for us. He's always with us. And so, you know, in terms of, do you mind actually just going through? I know actually, we're okay on time. Wow, that's a first. Um, so could you run through the colors for
Yeah.
everybody?
Yeah.
I think that
Um,
would be fun.
Yeah, for sure. And it helps you kinda get a feel for, like, what they mean, and maybe, a particular area will stand out to you, and you might go, "Oh, that sounds like me." Like, and
Yeah.
for, just to touch on the wound thing really quickly, a lot of people have a wound either in their root energy center, like, "Is this survivable? Am I gonna make it here?" Or in their solar plexus, which is all about your sense of identity, like, "Who do I belong to? Who am I
Mhm.
here? How do people see me? How do I want to be seen?" So generally, I would say those two places are where like that core wound tends to come in. I think mine touches on both the, am I going to be loved for who I am? And also, will
Mhm.
they take care of me? that's acceptance. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, it does. I think mine's all in the root. Like, am I gonna live? Am I
I
gonna
think that's
survive?
true.
I think
Yeah.
it's generational too. Like, it's not just me. It's been I think that's a family wound as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. That makes sense. I think so. I think the same with mine as well. And I look back at
Yeah.
like generational things that have happened that feels really true too.
Isn't that
Um
it's just so crazy. But yeah, okay, sorry, back
it
on
is.
colors.
There's so much wisdom, so much wisdom. It's so
I
good.
know.
So the energy centers are aligned to the colors of the rainbow. And so it's very easy to remember those. There, if you start at the base of your spine, that's red. The red supports the root. That is your sense of stability, security, financial security, your family or community, like your tribe, who do you belong to? And also like planting roots, like being strong enough or feeling secure enough to survive something. Then you move up into the sacral energy center, which is orange. And that is all about your creativity, your emotions, your creative expression, relationships, sexuality. Those energy centers support like the giving birth of, or like the procreation of. And
Yeah.
Rebecca would probably know this too from Carolyn Meese's book. That's the place where like ideas come to life in the reality of the where they're like born. Then you move up into your solar plexus, which is yellow, and that is all about your sense of identity, self-worth, confidence, your will, your how you see yourself in the world and how you want other people to see you. It's kind of like where the ego resides too. So you can kind of look
Okay.
at, am I making decisions out of fear or acceptance, or am I making decisions that feel authentic to me? Then you move up into the heart space, which is both green and pink. Green is the color of yourself. It is self love, self acceptance, compassion, forgiveness. And then pink, which is the higher heart, is all about like the universal love, like collective love. Like, how do we care for each other? Are we accepting of one another? Are we providing support and nurturing for everybody around us? And then that's God's love too, like that infinite, unconditional love that comes in.
Mm.
Then you have your throat, which is like a light blue color, like a robin's egg blue. That is all about communication, expression, authenticity, truth telling, hearing truth. It's connected to your ear, nose, and throat. So if you ever have blocked sinuses or sore throats, it can be that you maybe are blocking something that's trying to come through your intuition, or you are not speaking truth and you're not communicating or expressing exactly what it is that you need to say. Then you have your third eye, which is the color indigo or navy, and this supports your inspiration, your imagination, your intuition, all of the things that sort of come in and play like a movie theater in your mind, like your dreams and your visions and um how you have an inner knowing about things, or you just sort of look at somebody and you can tell like this is where your spiritual gifts sort of reside, and they can support you in how you navigate the world around you. And then your crown, which is what connects us to source, to God, the universe, that's white and violet. And that's all about remembering your divinity, remembering your spirit, connecting to God, knowing that you're part of a bigger picture, that you serve a purpose, you have a function, and that we're all meant to work together in collaboration to help be better and do better
Yeah.
in the world. So those energy centers are all, I mean, they can be in or out of balance depending on what's going on. When I see a color for somebody, it sort of shows me like what energy center are they dwelling in and what is the color balance in there. Is it bright, 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 or is it dim? And so that'll kind of give me a little indication of what's happening for that person. And you can work with color by looking at what color did you choose to wear today, or what color do you have the most of in your home, or what color car do you drive? Like all those colors that you pick, that you're drawn to and that you're attracted to, are ministering to your need for something in that moment.
Mm.
Um, so you're always being communicated to with color.
It's so cool. It's so interesting. Just to talk about it and see it and freeing too to not be scared of it because this is what he created for us. Like
Yeah.
this is part of our world. And the more that I've read the Bible and studied and looked at this too, it's that he created us to be human, but also he never like never wanted our spirits to be separated from our physical bodies. And we're all meant, I think, at least from what I can see. And it is, I think in order to fully connect with your spirit, you have to honor your physical. And in order to connect with your physical, like honor your physical, you have to honor your spirit. And I have been talking to Evan about this so much, and Rebecca too. And it's just so cool to have you on and basically reiterate that of, oh my gosh, you really do need to honor your spirit and understand your spirit. And they're meant to work together in unison. They're not different parts of you. Your desires and I think your desires are divine.
Hmm. Yeah.
And it's so cool. They're not some bad, like I think a lot of teaching says that your desires are inherently sinful. Your sin is your flesh is inherently sinful. And I, I just that's not the world that I think God wants us to live in.
No, I don't think so either. I think the thing that God wants most of all is a family. And I think he looks to
Mhm.
us to draw close to him and to rely on
Yeah.
him for things. And I look back to Genesis, that first part of the Bible is all about dwelling in the garden. And the
Yeah.
garden, I mean, can you imagine what that looks like? The Garden of Eden, it would just be like the most colorful, beautiful, magical place. Um,
Gorgeous. Yeah.
meant
I
to
mean,
fulfill everything, right? Like to
well, and think about our earth like in its beauty and its fullness. Like I think that is what the garden is our earth at 100% without death, without,
right.
all of this stuff going on.
Yeah.
Um, just imagine, we quoted a person in Costa Rica, and he was talking about the beautiful lushness of the greenery and the flowers and the sky and the sunsets and the sunrise. And I think when I picture the Garden of Eden, that's what I picture.
Yeah.
Um, and it's so cool. I don't know. God is so cool.
Yeah. Totally. Totally cool. I mean, it's awesome. I look at like things that because there's so much color in the Bible too. If you look at like the
Mhm.
stones, well, there are crystals in the Bible, right? The stones on the priestly garments of the ephod, there are all those crystals there. There's so
Oh,
much color mentioned
interesting.
in the robes, the scarlet and red robes. There's I mean, it blows my mind. But then even look at like the liturgical calendar and the colors that are represented there. I mean, it blows my mind. I think it's really cool to look at that as the Bible is like the source of everything. And then all these other tools
Yeah.
that we've pulled in are just little shards that have spun off from it that they all
Yeah.
sort of come back
Yeah.
together and we have them to use as tools. And color just happens to be mine.
Yeah, I mean, what a cool tool though that you get to play with and work
Yeah.
with. And um so for people I guess listening that maybe are really intrigued by this and interested and but still are a little bit fearful, like what do you recommend starting with
Mm.
color or starting with like energy work?
Yeah, that's a great question. I put together a little color healing guide for people so that you can just start to get familiar with what the colors are, what they might mean, and how to I think just start to notice. I talked about like the crystals being like the gateway drug for me. I think color is like a really gentle
I
way
love
to
it.
step into it, like color exists around us. There's nothing inherently bad about color. And people sometimes will say, "Oh, do you see black around me? Is it bad that I wear black?" And I'm like, "No, black serves a purpose. White serves a purpose. All the colors serve
Yeah.
so many beautiful purposes." There's nothing inherently bad about it at all. So you can just start to pay attention to color. And the simplest way to notice, I tell people all the time, is go look through your laundry from last week. Go peek through your laundry basket and see what color did you wear the most of last week? Like, was it red? Was it blue? Whatever it was, that color was telling you something last week. So if you wore a lot of blue, you might have been working on how you were showing up and how you were speaking to people. You might have been working on receiving or communicating truth about something. You might have, whatever it was, but look back at it and just ask yourself, like, what was going on last week and what color did I wear the most of? Because there's a message in there for you. And that'll give you like an idea of what it's saying. And then you can start to intentionally work with color to support whatever it is that you're trying to do in your life. So, um, just pay attention to it.
That's so cool. It's so interesting just how I didn't even think about that. What about for people that dress with their seasons?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's really cool to me too. I think well, and I think about it from a painting perspective, right? Because you have your color theory and you have all
Yeah.
these different ways that like color looks better based on your skin tone, or do you have like warm or
Yeah.
cool undertones? So, um, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely dress and wear whatever you feel the best in. But it's funny
Mhm.
because there's a green in my seasonal color palette that is not a green that I typically wear, and, um, and I'm not attracted to it. It just doesn't feel good to me, so I don't wear that green. I wear the brightest green that I
Yeah.
because I'm always supporting my heart, so you can absolutely dress in your seasons, but also if you don't like a particular color, like, it's okay. You don't have to
It's
wear it.
okay.
It's
Yeah.
okay,
No,
yeah.
that's it's cool. Because I'm an autumn and I'm trying to get more like darker, not dark.
Oh,
I
yeah.
have a lot of black, but black is not in my color palette. But I think I wore a lot of black because I wanted to hide. Like I wasn't very confident.
Yeah.
Um, and I wanted to just blend in. Like I
Yeah.
didn't want to ruffle any feathers or deal with anything. I just wanted to, yeah, and
Yeah.
so now, I found I was in autumn a year ago, year and a half ago. I started getting some more. I love a rust or a burnt orange and red and
Mhm.
um, so sorry, I'm like totally getting off topic now talking about
You're good, you're
seasons.
good.
But I love it. I guess for people, is there an energy center that you want to sit in that is like an optimal energy center?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think they're all awesome to play with. I would say depending on what it is that you need. So, if you want to feel more peaceful, if you want to feel more loving, if you want to feel more accepting of yourself and others, you can sit in the heart. The heart is green and pink, and that is going to, I always think of the heart as the bridge between the physical and the spiritual. So, it enables you to sort of stay in that space between I'm a human, I got to pack lunches, I got to do the school run, I got to do all this stuff, but also I'm here for a purpose. I have a higher calling. I am, here to serve and to help support other people. And that heart sort of supports both of those. And then if you
Yeah.
just want to feel more connected to God, to your spirit, you could work with whites and violets or purples, because those will help you stay in
Mm.
communion or in conversation with God too.
Just funny that I picked a white today.
Yeah. And I wore like an indigo
No, I'm like, "Wait, that's so funny."
in
I
the
think
upper
Rebecca
energy
was
centers too.
in I think she was in a pink,
Yeah.
which is funny, like, okay, it's so interesting. Do you and then my I guess we'll wrap up in a minute. I think she ended up having to take Tate to the doctor, so hopefully
Oh,
he's okay.
little buddy.
Um, but I guess I wanted to ask you, in that color healing kit, do you have little, which I mean, I've seen it, I'm just not
Mhm.
remembering. Do
Yeah.
you have the like indications? Like if so for instance, like say you have like GI upset or like digestive issues, what color that relates to?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for saying that. Yeah. If you look at it, there's a little chart in there and it'll tell you the color, what area of the body it's associated with, what it looks like when it's in balance, and what it looks like when it's out of balance. And then I think it has like a little, either a mantra or a little guide for how to start to get it more
Okay.
in balance too.
Okay, good
Yeah.
to know. Okay, so then yeah, because I'm already thinking I was talking to Evan this morning and he was like, I'm just like having the worst like GI issue. And I'm like, oh, I think it's And I was like, well, I know he's also been having back pain. So I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's your root, which makes sense. He's going through a lot stability wise.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm gonna have him do the color healing kit.
Yeah, have them take a look and then
Yeah.
see if there's something kind of a lot of times tummy issues are about not being able to digest something and not
Mhm.
just food, right? Like not just dairy or what have you, but
Yeah.
like um but like
I would hope so.
energetically.
I'm like, it's that
No,
simple?
just avoid milk, you'll be fine. No, it's a lot of times it has to do with like there's something happening in and around your life where you are like, I just don't even know how to process this. Like, you just can't
Yeah,
digest it. I think tummy problems are pervasive for a lot of people right now because there's so much
they
happening in the
are.
world that you're like, I just don't even know where to start. And so it just affects your um that sense of stability. Absolutely. That sense of like, can I even deal with this? Can I even process this? So you could
Yeah,
ask him too to like just sit down and journal on or just draw like what are the things that are weighing on him that he feels like he's having trouble just even being able to process or
yeah,
understand. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, I'm gonna have him do that. So the color kit is the kind of like how to kind of dive into this, dip your toe into it. If people are like me and they're like, please work with me. Um, I need help. So what, yeah, what does that look like for you?
I do thanks for asking. I have
Of course.
a couple of different ways. The primary way is through like a one-on-one creative healing journey where we start with the spirit portrait. We sort of see where you're feeling blocked or stuck, and then we meet every other week and we move through those emotions and we do therapeutic art together and we sort of process together what's coming up for you and develop sort of a map for what balance feels like or what healing feels like for you. And then that 4 month ends with a final spirit portrait that sort of reflects where you started and then where you got to, which is awesome. And then once a month, I do what I call a color healing community call where you're welcome to come and spend time with me. We do a meditation, we talk about one particular color, and then we do an art exercise together. So that is like a no pressure, you don't even have to turn your camera on situation where you can just come as you are and start to move energy out and learn about color and start to work with the healing energy of color too.
My gosh, that's awesome. Yeah, I love working with you because I've been looking for something. I've been in therapy for years. And it just wasn't, I mean, it was fine. I wasn't, it definitely helped, but it wasn't moving things through. I was still
Yeah.
feeling so blocked. And ever since I've like opened up this side of me, this spiritual side of me, like really focusing on my energy, everything has started. I mean, yes, things have definitely fallen apart, but it's fallen apart to kind of come together, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. And that's why it's so important. I think whatever modality you're drawn to, whether it's art or music or what have you, it's just simply a way for you to um, calm the nervous system, find some relaxation so that you can actually make space to hear, see, or feel what's going on for you. Because a lot of us just spend so
Yeah.
much time numbing, blocking, and shoving things way, way
Mhm.
down.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, right here.
Guilty, right?
Um, Guilty, absolutely. Before we go, can you just explain a little bit about, I guess there's two questions and then we'll wrap. But can you explain a little bit about how you actually can see color?
Sure, yeah.
Like
Um,
surrounding people or their energy?
yeah, for sure. So I have something called synesthesia. Synesthesia is where your senses get crossed in your mind. So if I listen to music, I see shape and color and form, sort of circling or moving. It happens for me with music and with taste and with sound or smell. And so with that comes the sort of like sensation. It's almost like I put your energy on like a jacket and I'll see color around your physical body and in my mind's eye. And I'll sort of then be able to kind of interpret what does that color mean? Where do I feel it in the body? If you have pain in your body, sometimes I'll feel that pain too in mine, and
Mm.
sort of know what's going on with you there. Like as we're talking today and you're sitting against that white wall, I'm watching your energy sort of billow out around your head. Like you've got lots of blues and greens that are kind of coming out
Oh,
around you.
interesting.
Yeah.
Light blue
So
or indigo?
a light blue, like a lighter
Oh,
blue on
interesting.
the,
And which
yeah.
mean what do those mean?
So aura and chakras or energy centers are a little bit different. The
Oh,
blue,
okay.
I know it's a little bit weird, but I see it sort of differently. But the blue and the green sort of tells me that you are just sitting in your throat and your heart. Those are generally people who are trustworthy, loving, organized, empathetic. They tend to be people who are just kind of like sensitive people. So
Yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah.
I think
I'm
that's
a
you.
Cancer.
So yeah, so that's so I can see it like physically and then like intuitively in
That's
my
so
mind's eye.
interesting. And they're slightly different based on what you feel intuitively and then actually physically can see.
Yeah.
Um, with Rebecca, did you see anything? That was my second question.
I did see like a little bit of pink and orange for her. It's funny because she's wearing pink today.
Yeah,
Um
yeah.
I think pinks are generally like, sensitive people too. I think they tend to be people who feel very deeply and don't always know how to process it or even consume it. A little
Uh-huh.
bit of orange to me tells me she might just be sitting in like an emotional state or like just feeling a little bit uncertain or unsure about some things that are going on. Um, but
Mhm.
it could also just be that she's kind of I think tuning into a sick kiddo today too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's so funny. I saw, and maybe it was just my screen the other
Yeah.
day, but I saw her like it was green, like
Oh,
around her. And
yeah.
I have never seen anything like if I stare really closely,
Uh-huh.
sometimes I can see like it's just white though. Like I can't
That's the
fully
first
see.
layer. Yeah. So you could probably you can
Oh,
practice that. You can
interesting.
deepen that. It's like the first etheric layer that goes around your body, and then it will, if you can sort of um what's it called? Like relax your eyes a little bit. So you're not really squinting, but you're just sort of relaxing. You can see that like that first layer, and then you'll start to see more colors start to billow out. And then you might lose it and it'll come back. And but you could
Yeah.
probably deepen that too.
Okay, yeah, it's so cool because I didn't even know I could do that until we had Amanda on, who was did the astrology one, and she's been able to see auras since she was a kid,
Oh,
and she was like,
cool.
"I think anyone can see them. You just have to
Yeah.
look close enough. Like you have to focus on it."
Yep.
And then I started, but then I'm like, people are gonna think I'm nuts. I'm gonna be like,
Open invitation to practice on me anytime.
okay, good to know. Can you see your own?
I can sometimes, yeah. If I'm like in the bathroom looking in the mirror, I'll
Yeah.
kind of look and see like what comes up for me. Sometimes it freaks me out because I think anytime I like look into my eyes for too long, I'm like, "Ah," it kind of weirds me out a little
Yes,
bit, but
I've been doing that since I was a kid, like, freaking
same.
myself out, like, "I'm not real. This isn't real."
It's like your
Like,
face
what is
disappears. It's weird. It's very weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you can actually see your own too if you kind
Well,
of play with
so
that.
cool. Alright, well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
It's been so fun. We will
I've
put
loved it.
everything that we talked about in you're gonna be like our one of our regulars if you're down.
Oh, I'm down.
I'm gonna have you anytime we have you're gonna be like our resident expert on all things woo woo, which I love, which is not woo. I mean, I always call myself woo woo, but I feel like this is normal. Everybody else is just like, I
I
feel
think
like
more
it's they're not.
people are woo than they let on. I think people are more
I
woo than they
know.
let on. Yeah.
I literally had a call with, Kelly, if you're listening to this. She was like, "Yeah, girl, I'm so like that astrology call, like that podcast literally like changed everything for me. Like I'm finally like going into my gifts now." And she's like, "I'm woo woo," and I was like, "Oh my gosh, yes, we're like we're spiritually like Jesus Christ is woo. He was woo woo."
whole thing is woo-woo when you think about it. You're like,
No,
"What?
the
This is
whole Bible is
crazy."
woo-woo.
Woo-woo.
Like, have you
It's
read
so
that book?
good.
It's woo-woo.
Yes, it's my favorite woo-woo book out there. It's so amazing. It really is. It's so amazing. It is wild. I love to tell stories about it. I'll come home from Bible study and I'll say to my husband, "You would not believe what we learned
Like,
today,"
it's yeah, like, it's like the tea. Have you seen the person that does there's a
the
podcast or
Bible
something that
tea.
she, like yes,
Yes.
yes.
I love it so much.
So
Yeah.
funny.
Ah, it's
Oh,
so good.
man,
It's so
so
good.
good. Well, I feel like we could talk to you for hours, but, thank you so much. Sorry Rebecca had to go right in
I
the middle of
know.
this, but,
Please send my
I
love.
know,
I
I
feel
hope
bad for her. I hope she's okay and hope her
I
baby's okay.
will, I will. I know, poor guy.
Thank you for
All
having
right, so
me.
I'm just gonna yeah, of course. Thanks for coming. Thanks for being here with us today. If something resonated, maybe a sentence, a silence, or a story, hold on to that. If you felt seen or stirred or simply curious, we hope you'll join us again. Until then, stay open, stay tender, and remember, there's always a seat for you at the table.